I am going to explain the chapter paragraph wise. First, I am going to read first paragraph. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woman who had a son named Jack. She was ill and Jack was too young to work. Almost all their belongings had been sold to buy food. There was nothing left worth selling. They had an old cow named Daisy, whom they were very fond of. Now I am going to explain the paragraph. Long, long ago in a village, a old woman and her young son Jack was living with their dearly loved cow Daisy. The old woman was very ill. They were very poor, even they hadn't nothing to sell because they had sold everything. Only their cow was left. They loved it very much. One day, Jack's mother asked to sell the cow because they had nothing to eat. Next day, Jack went to the market. He was very sad. Now I am going to explain the chapter paragraph wise. Now I am going to read first paragraph. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woman who had a son named Jack. She was ill and Jack was too young to work. Almost all their belongings had been sold to buy food. There was nothing left worth selling. They had an old cow named Daisy, whom they were very fond of. Now I am going to explain first paragraph. Long, long ago, in a village, an old woman and her young son Jack was living with their dearly loved cow Daisy. The old woman was very ill. They were very poor, even they hadn't nothing to sell because they had sold everything. Only their cow was left. They loved it very much. Now the next paragraph. One day, Jack's mother said, Jack, go to the market and sell our cow, or we shall have nothing to eat. So the next day, with a heavy heart, Jack left for the market to sell their beloved Daisy. One day, now I am going to explain the next paragraph. One day, Jack's mother asked to sell the cow because they had nothing to eat. Next day, Jack went to the market. He was very sad. I am going to read the last paragraph of this chapter. But Jack did not listen to his mother's word and thought, I will just see where it leads to. And with that, he stepped out of the window onto the beanstalk and began to climb upwards. He climbed higher and higher till their cottage looked a mere speck below. Now, I am going to start the explanation. The last paragraph is, but Jack was not ready to listen to his mother. And he remembered the word of that farmer. The farmer told him that these beans are not a simple or ordinary beans. These beans are magic beans. So he came out of his window and began to climb and climb higher and higher, and he reached near to the top of the beanstalk. So this is the end of this chapter, but this story will continue to the next chapter also. And now you can see in this chapter there are three main characters. First is the Jack, the second is his mother, and the third is his beloved cow Daisy. And now you can see the fourth character which is appealing us. That character is the farmer. The farmer who bought the cow, who buy this cow with the... Now I am going to read the third paragraph. For some time he went along with very sadly, but on seeing the hustle and bustle at the market, he quite recovered his spirit. He stood in a corner and started calling out, who will buy my cow? A few farmers looked at Daisy and said, oh, the cow is too thin and old. Now I am explaining the chapter, or you can say the paragraph. He was walking to the market very sadly, but when he saw the activities or noisy environment of market, he restored himself. He started shouting, who will buy my cow? Few farmers, those came near, they saw and said it is very thin and old cow. Now I am going to read the next paragraph. Jack was disappointed as no one came forward to buy his cow. When at last he met a farmer who looked over the cow and was eager to buy it, Jack asked him, "How much will you buy it for?" The farmer said, "I do not have any money, but I have a handful of magic beans. Would you like to exchange your cow for them?" Now I am going to explain this paragraph. Jack was very sad because no one came coming forward to buy his cow. At last, the one farmer came to him and said, "I will buy this cow, but I have I don't have money, but I will give you handful of magic beans. Would you like to exchange it?" Now the next paragraph. At first, Jack thought the farmer was. Now I'm going to read the next paragraph. At first, Jack thought the farmer was joking, but the farmer had a kindly expression on his face. He said, "These are not ordinary beans. They are the most wonderful beans and ever were known. If you plant them tonight, by tomorrow morning they will grow up and reach the sky." For some reason, Jack could not refuse him, so he sold the cow for a handful of beans. Now I am going to explain this paragraph. Jack thought that farmer was joking, but the farmer said it is not an ordinary bean. It is full of magic. So the beans, those he was giving, that that was not a simple beans. That was a full of magic. If you will plant it, it will grow very fast and reach the sky. So the Jack got ready to sell there or his cow. Now the next paragraph. Alas, when he got home, his mother was furious and she screamed, "You silly boy, what shall we eat tonight?" Angrily, she threw the beans out of the house. There was no food to eat that night, and both of them slept hungry. And now I'm going to explain. Now that night was very, you can say, very sad night for them, and they had nothing to eat. And he returned home with a very simple beans. His mother saw the beans and he got angry, and she got angry and she threw all the beans. She threw the beans. You all know. Jack's mother threw the beans out of the house. And now I'm going to read the next paragraph. Jack woke up next morning to find his room dark. He jumped out of the bed and ran to the window to see what the matter was. The sun was shining brightly outside, but beside his bedroom window there was a giant beanstalk which seemed to reach the sky. He called out, "Mother, Mother, look at this giant beanstalk." His mother came to the window and said, "Oh, what use will this be to us? Chop it off. We can use it as firewood." Now Jack was eager to see the beans, so he woke up early and went to the window. He saw the beans became a huge stalk and it was touching the sky. He called his mother, but his mother not interested and said, "It is not in our use, and cut it, chop it, because it is useless for us." Now the next paragraph. But Jack did not listen to his mother's word and thought, "I will just see where it leads to." And with that, he stepped out of the window onto the beanstalk and began to climb upwards. He climbed higher and higher till their cottage looked at a mere speck below. But Jack was not ready to listen. He remembered the word of that farmer. He came out of his window and began to climb higher and higher. He reached near to the top of. Now he reached near to the top of the beanstalk. And this is the end of this story. And this story will continue to the next chapter. Now, in the end of this chapter, we can find three main characters. First character is Jack himself, and the second character, his mother, and the third character, the cow, Daisy. And the fourth and most appealing character, which we can find out in this chapter, the farmer. Farmer who bought the cow and he gave magical beans to